When you look at professional concept photography, you'll see crazy effects created by filters such as light streaks and lens flares. And as someone who only takes in a point and shoot, I want to recreate these looks without having to take 5 to 10 different filters in at the same time. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I recreate some of these looks all in Photoshop. So we're actually going to start off really simple with the first one. So in Photoshop, get your image, and then you simply just want to Control J, Command J, duplicate the layer. So you've got another one and convert it into a smart object. This just allows you to tweak the settings without having to recreate the entire thing if it's a bit overkill or it's just not enough. So the first effect we're going to use is a Gaussian blur. Now this sort of brings up the highlights, kind of like a mist filter, but a little bit different, and you've got a lot more control over it. So to achieve this, we're going to go up to filter, I'm going to go down to blur and Gaussian blur. Obviously this is just going to make the image look blurry, so you can't really see what's going on. So to begin with, I'll set it at around 10, just hit OK. And then the sort of key to this is using the composition modes. So if you scroll through, you'll see the effect that this sort of has on the image just by changing the composition mode. The ones we're going to use the most are these ones, so lighten, screen, color dodge, linear dodge, and lighter color. And simply just look and see which one you like the look of the most. So for this one, I think I'm going to go for let's go for color dodge on this one. So as you can see, it looks quite intense right now. So to change this, all we really need to do for this one is to just drop the opacity. And as you can see, that's really like bringing down the highlights. So I might go to about 85. None of these are going to be perfect. This is just me like really quickly just going through and showing you the principles of it all. So if we turn that off and on, you can see the difference. It just absolutely blows out the highlights a bit, which may be a look you want, it may be a look you don't want. I don't really want it on his face, on Johnny's face. So what I'm actually going to do is just go to the eraser tool. Now doing this, then you do have to rasterize, so then that bakes in that image. So if you're not happy with it, you'd have to undo so that it's a smart layer again, smart object again, and then redo it. But then essentially I'm just going to make sure my hardness is all the way down and size is kind of big just so it doesn't look as obvious, and just go around his face and just take out all those blown out highlights. So as you can see there's the before, there's the after. Again, we probably can still turn that down because it's still set to color dodge. It's just we can't change the Gaussian anymore. So obviously it's a very harsh look, and there's still a lot of noise in this image from when it was taken. So to sort of turn that into an artistic look, I have a folder full of, let me bring this over, a folder full of different textures that I use, and I tend to use these ones up at the top a lot. We may touch on some of these lower ones later on. Something I didn't mention while we were going through that then, a lot of the blur filters and overlays I get are actually just off Twitter. There's so many accounts that will just tweet free overlays that you can just save the image as and then use them in your images. I wouldn't fall for any of the buy this pack and get 30,000 overlays for £10, because there's a lot of crap in them that you don't need. There's enough that you can get just from their tweets that are more than useful. So I'm just going to bring in this texture, drop it on top, and then just drag it to size. And then here what we want to do is go back to our 5 options and again just see which one we like the look of the most. I think for this one I'm gonna go for linear dodge. And again, we can, if we think it's too intense, we can bring that down quite a bit. And there we go. So it just sort of adds a bit more noise into it. I'm gonna put that in a group just so I can literally go before, after, before, after. So yeah, if you just wanna blow out your highlights, make it look like you've got a bit of a mist filter on, Gaussian blur is the option that you wanna use. So this next one we're gonna look at is motion blur. So again, Control J, Command J, whatever you're using, convert to a smart object, have the layer selected, up to filter, and we're gonna go down to blur again, and this one is motion blur. So again, as you can see, looks really over the top. You can really crank this if you want. It's just like mad streaks. But I'm gonna drop this down to about 300, and then the angle I've got matched to sort of the angle Sam is leaning back at. But you can, if you match this to sort of the way you want the movement to look, like I can have it sideways if I really wanted. But I think for this, we're gonna look at sort of the 80 degrees, the way Sam's leaned back with the microphone. And again, I'm gonna go to our composite modes and look and see which one we like the look of the most. And again, I think it's linear dodge. So I could just leave this one here, but I don't really like, I want the motion blur, but I don't really want these blown out highlights. So I'm gonna turn that layer off. I'm gonna select this one and use the object selection tool to just select Sam. And then if we use the quick selection tool just to add the microphone in as well. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect, but we'll get it as close as we can very quickly. And I'm simply just gonna Control C to copy, Control C to copy, and then Control V to paste. Put that at the top. So as you can see, we now just have a cutout of Sam, and then turn back on our motion blur layer. As you can see, he's now sat on top with all these motion blur streaks behind him, which I think just gives it a much nicer look. I don't like how in focus the background is with the blur now. So I'm gonna duplicate our bottom layer again and just add a Gaussian blur normally, just blur it out a bit more. My only issue now is you can very clearly see that Sam has been cut out. So on our cutout layer, we're gonna go to our eraser again, maybe tone this down a bit. We're just gonna get the edges of Sam just to blend him in a bit more. Maybe around the top is a bit too much, but for now that's fine. It just blends him in a bit more to the background. And then again, because I love a bit of grain, I'm gonna paste that on top. It's probably, I think it's because it's a different size, so I'm gonna turn that down even more. And there we go, we've got this motion blur look. I really don't like how strong that noise is on this one, but it makes the point. Just adds sort of this motion blur of Sam, like as if I've dragged the shutter down, if that makes sense as I've taken it. Or just sort of like, especially with where light seems to be bouncing off things, it's sort of streaked that out as well. So it's kind of a 2-in-1. And the final one we're gonna look at is zoom blur. So again, we're gonna duplicate that, convert it to a smart object, go to filter, blur, and this time we're gonna go down to radial blur. So you'll get these options. I think by default it's set to like spin and good. Spin does what you think it does this, which can be a look in itself, but I've never really used it, never really found an image that I like using it in. So instead, I tend to use the zoom blur. Now you can see from the little graph here, it sort of looks like light speed, like from Star Wars. So if we set this to about 30 and then hit OK, take a bit of time. There you go, you'll see it's sort of like, it's as if you've got a slow shutter and zoomed in at the same time. It just creates this streak. Now for this one, I'm not actually going to use a composite mode because it tends to, although you can kind of see it, especially if we use that and sort of look at the text in his tattoo, you can kind of see it streaking a little bit, same around his hands. But I don't really like that for this. So all I'm gonna do is go to my eraser, maybe make that a bit bigger, and just, oh yeah, I forgot about that, rasterize it from a smart object to a rasterized layer, and then just erase around his face, just so his face is sort of sharp, but then the rest of it is really like blurry and you get that zoom effect. This image is kind of dark and you can't really see the details. So I go down to the circle, the half circle thing. I'm gonna go to curves. I'm actually just gonna bring some of this up just to brighten the image a bit more. Maybe drop those highlights in his face a bit more. Yeah, there we go. So again, if I group these, there's before, there's after. So a really cool kind of effect that's super, super simple to do. This one is literally just do the blur, erase the parts of the image that you want in focus, go away Elgato. Yeah, it's just add the zoom, erase the bits you want in focus, and there's your finished image. So yeah, they're just 3 very, very simple effects that you can use in Photoshop, literally just using the blur effects, different composition modes, to create a whole wide range of different looks. If you like the video, please leave a thumbs up down below. And if you want to see more of sort of my editing workflow, my different editing techniques, please let me know down in the comments and I'm sure I'll create another video on this. Thanks for watching, please subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.